G'day YouTube, warbles on a lot here. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to protest the imminent and ongoing destruction of the habitat of Petauroides volans, a charming little critter otherwise known as the greater glider, who may indeed be the original one and only drop bear. Mogwai Embassy. And there we have a greater glider, about the size of an ordinary possum, but it flies like a sugar glider. Photo taken 2 weeks ago here. We have more. This is old mate Joe Sparks. He's organised the protest. He took the photo. He actually knows what he's talking about. So how about I shut up and he does a little bit of the talking.
Well, we got up here to a state-sponsored harvest of native forests about 2 weeks ago, and they were in dump 7, sorry. And there was these animals. These are the actual photos from around that harvest area. These animals were still in the forest there, in the remaining trees.
Speak up, mate.
These animals were just there, and they were looking for a place to jump to. Basically, it was obvious that they were missing their other trees and the dens that they live in.
So these are living in a sort of a token stick of a tree left out there in the middle of a bare-balled billiard table worth of cleared forest.
Yeah, basically.
A logged coop, as they call it.
I just didn't like how they were acting like they weren't doing anything to these animals, where they were clearly like being severely affected, if not completely slaughtered, basically manslaughtered.
Slaughtered by man, yeah.
Yeah.
So the people who are doing the logging are pretending that they're not upsetting the animals.
Yeah, basically, and that they're doing everything to preserve these endangered species. These are actually endangered.
So they've been endangered since the last bushfire?
Yeah, numbers dropped dramatically after the bushfires of 2019.
Okay, and the thing is, these things kick off from trees at night, and if they land on your head, you got a drop there. Okay, Joe, so what are you trying to make happen by being out here?
Well, I'm trying to raise awareness that these animals actually exist, and that they're, suffering quite drastically for products that these workers can't even name. I mean, they're saying they're making flooring, but I just don't see what's so important to kill these endangered species. What product they could be making that doesn't have some other, alternative.
Yep. Okay. So, unless you agree with the idea that the best practice plan for the furtherance of humanity on planet Earth is to convert the very last functional remnant of the ecology into something that can be gathered up and dragged off and sold to the highest bidder at market until the environment completely collapses and basically everybody dies, then we better start doing something now to stop the fucking rot. And to my way of thinking, you got a forest like this, it's not a pristine forest, but it's alive. It's got greater gliders in it. The last thing it needs is a bunch of idiots with chainsaws and bulldozers and log skidders who really only want to pay the mortgage for another couple of months until the Brady Bunch falls apart. It's not as if they're saving the future of civilization by logging the last forest. Their grandfathers should have been put on the dole 50 bloody years ago, and then we could have had a tourist industry dedicated to bringing rich, fat capitalists from overseas to come here and walk around at night looking at the greater gliders, talking about drop bears. But we're not going to get that, are we? Because somebody wants to be paid to drag his chainsaw backwards through a tree, and somebody else wants to be paid to rip the bark off it. Also, it can be sent away, and then generally turn into wood chips because it's not straight enough grained for a sawmill that's been designed to work on plantation timber. This is like a legacy industry. There's no point in doing it, but they can't think of anything else to do with their life and they want to pay the mortgage. Mort, gauge. A gauge is a measure and mort is French for dead. They've gone to a moneylender to figure out how much money they can repay before they die of overwork, killing the gliders.
Archaic industry.
Archaic.
And this practice is akin to clubbing seals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, only they're using bulldozers instead of bloody billy clubs.
It's pretty well spot on analogy.
Well, anyway, I haven't been to a forest protest since my kids were 5 years old and they're like 35 and 36. So I'm having a great time. Thanks for inviting me, Joe. As the world burns, the greenies try and stop it from turning into shit. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao. Bonus extra footage. Global warming culls, vote green or die. Remember the stickers? That's a 2016 version from back when Tony Abbott was getting himself elected Prime Muppet. Ciao.